All right, guys. So today we're going to be talking about one of the newest chapters of JJK and how it's going to impact the story moving forward. Now, what we've seen in some of the more recent leaks and just from our newer chapters is that Sukuna versus Gojo is obviously underway, and Sukuna seems to have an upper hand. Now, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and look at the story, analyze it as if Sukuna were about to grab the win, which it looks like immediately he is. But, of course, things change in the series, so we don't exactly know how this battle is actually going to turn out. So what we can do is actually take a look and investigate into what would happen if Sukuna were to win this fight, which does look like immediately or at first hand, he is probably going to. Now, Gojo's having trouble with him, but as the story progresses, of course, we're going to decide the victor. And if Gojo wins, essentially, without any help, then, of course, he wins without any help. But the thing we're going to look at is the first man up after Gojo falls. So if Gojo goes down either periodically or completely where he's either killed or just completely incapacitated as a fighter, the next man up, I believe, is going to be Okotsu. So if that's Yuta, he's going to come with Rika, right? And I think this is going to be the time where we actually see Rika at full power with nothing else stopping her. So essentially to battle Sukuna, I think he's going to have to let Rika go completely wild. And that's because Rika was referenced as the queen of curses. So if she has power that can even rival and go comparable to Gojo, a weakened or fatigued Sukuna, after he gets done fighting Gojo, may have lost significant cursed energy to the point where he's much slower, weaker, and defenseless, etc. Or he may have just taken straight up damage that makes him weaker. So if that's the case, that means we actually can see this guy, Yuta, is the most likely out of the people that's going to come or be the next man up. But the other people we need to take a consideration of course, Kenjaku mentions the big three from the school, and that includes Yuta, Maki, and Hikari. Now, Maki, I'll give it to her. She does have the split soul katana, so she'll have the AP potentially to damage Sukuna, right? But other than that, she doesn't really have regen or defense. So if she gets hit one good time, that's probably her, her for the fight. The other person we're looking at, of course, is Hikari, but he doesn't really seem to have the offense. I don't see what attack he has that can really damage Sukuna. Now, of course, if he hits jackpot, he can defend himself. And if he defends himself, yeah, he can heal for a good 4 minutes and maybe stay alive. But other than that, I don't really see how he damages Sukuna, so I don't really consider him much of a factor on his own. Now, we do also need to include Yuji, and he is the main character, of course, so it's likely he'll return to relevance in some way. Now, he may have gotten a single finger from Sukuna. I don't know how much that's going to help, but more importantly, he has a body switching or soul swapping technique, and that's what I think can help. If he gets in a soul battle with Sukuna and gives the others a chance to make him waver or an opening for them to attack, it looks like he may actually be useful in that regard. So if he's useful in that way, he can actually save his teammates or help them out in a way that makes the battle more handicapped against Sukuna. So really, the only person I see with a chance on their own is Yuta, and that's if Sukuna's either very fatigued or, of course, damaged. Now, we do have one other person to consider, and that's, of course, Kashimo. Now, Kashimo has an attack that was saved specifically to defeat Sukuna, right? And that's Sukuna from the Golden Age as he knows him. So that should account for 20 fingers. Now, if this is a full power Sukuna and this one attack, a single use attack, should be the way to defeat him, it could be something like the Angel's Jacob ladder that just straight up decimated Sukuna for a moment. And if that's the case, and I think Kashimo may be stronger, this could be an attack that leads the others to just straight up dogpile Sukuna once he gets hit. So in conjunction, if all of these characters do attack at the same time, they may stand a chance against a fatigued or a partially decimated Sukuna from fighting Gojo. Now that does depend on what Gojo does and, of course, how he fares in his battle. If he doesn't do much, then, yeah, these guys are lost. The story's over. And that would be pretty much it. They do still have to, of course, account for Kenjaku, but that's not a character that I see causing too much trouble as far as the high-tier characters. But other than that, everyone's going to do their best. But I do, of course, see Yuta being the first man up. So that's it for now. More content coming soon.